Alrighty then, Ford fans, here we go with the special Gause Garage special exclusive with the two Boss 302 cars in the same color of Grabber Orange. The factory race cars in the same color were referred to as the school bus yellow. And here we have the 70 Trans Am Championship homologation car on the right, and we have a 2013 Boss 302 on the left. We're going to do a quick walk around with an explanation of what a homologation car is, and the specifics to each model. So let's go up from the beginning. In 1966, you had a gentleman named John Bishop, and he created the Trans-American Sedan Championship Series, or what was later to be known as the Trans Am Championship. There were several manufacturers were starting to turn out two-door high-performance American cars, and they obtained a class in the Trans Am Championship. You had the likes of Pontiac, Chevrolet, Ford, AMC, Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, and well, anyway, let's get started. What we'll cover first is on the right is a 1970 Boss 302 Mustang designed by Larry Shinoda. That was a Japanese immigrant that came over to got his start basically at GM. He designed the Mako Shark, which was initially the concept car for the second generation Stingray Corvette. He was working in conjunction with Zora Arkus-Duntov, and that's where he got a start. He also designed the Z28 Trans Am cars, but then when his boss came over to Ford in late '68, they started working on these cars for Ford because Ford put out a mandate that they wanted to win the Trans Am series. You know, it's the old adage, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. So these Ford Mustangs were designed, and Larry Shinoda put this particular design on the Boss 302, and it was the 1970 Trans Am Championship, driven by Parnelli Jones. Now we're going to take a look under the hood here. You can see a nice car. This is a homologation car. This is a street version of the racing car. The homologation rule, and I keep using the term homologation. Basically, it's a term describing that the manufacturers had to put out so many cars on the street to be able to race them on the track. And this is one of the street versions. And Ford did an exemplary job of putting in a 302 engine. It's a stroker engine from the factory, and it's a thin wall, high tensile block, and part of the structure of it is the only time the 302 got a 4-bolt main from the factory was in the Boss 302. It's a high winding, super strong engine with screw-in freeze plugs, and just an amazing car. So again, the original winner of the 1970 Trans Am Championship signed this car, and that was Parnelli Jones, a famous racer in all kinds of racing endeavors, but he was a winning driver for Ford. And then a close personal friend of mine who was an independent Trans Am driver, but he was also the sales manager for Tasca Ford. If you recall, and those people who know, Tasca Ford was a very successful high-performance Ford dealership. That sales manager was named Dean Gregson. He is still alive. He lives right up outside of the Tasca dealership, and he winters here in Florida, and that's how I met him. He's a close personal friend of mine, and let me tell you something, I consider myself extremely fortunate to be a friend of his. So let's take a look inside this car. We're going to kind of like a little bit of a deeper dive into each one of these cars and what they are. This is a actual 1970 Boss 302, Grabber Orange, delivered to Ralph Williams Ford, Encino, California, outside of Los Angeles. It's a California emissions car. Of course, all of them are 4-speed. You cannot get an automatic Boss 302. There's no such thing. You know, your other homologation cars, like from Chrysler, you could get a AAR CUDA, Dan Gurney's All-American Racers, in automatic, or, you know, but all the Fords were in 4 speeds. This one has the standard 350 track lock, but the one thing about it is it's a very high option car. 16 factory options. That's really unheard of in a homologation car, because these cars were basically strippers put out just to make them available to get on the racetrack. So normally they didn't have a lot of options, but this car is loaded up with all kinds of stuff, and it's backed up by the Marty report. There you go, with the 16 options. And as you can see, Ralph Williams Ford, Encino, California. And it is one of 193 with these paint and trim codes, which is actually Grabber Orange. The race cars were called School Bus Yellow, but this is actually Grabber Orange, one of the 3 high impact colors. You had Grabber Blue, Grabber Green, and this one Grabber Orange, and the racing people called it School Bus Yellow. So anyway, here's the build sheet. And you have the window sticker to back it up. And then I have the folder on the car with about 20 registrations. I have the very first registration from Ralph Williams Ford, from the gentleman out in California, and then there was a gentleman out west that had it, and there's about 18 other registrations in there from him out west. But anyway, somewhere along the line, it was signed by Parnelli Jones, and then my friend Dean Gregson signed it, and I have the video of that signing. But indeed, the 70 Mustang Boss 302 is one of the hot ones, folks. I'm just telling you, it's a good-looking car. There is no doubt it is racing inspired. And Larry Shinoda, the Japanese immigrant that designed this car, he made a masterpiece. Okay, so let's move over to this one. 2013, Ford reintroduced the Boss 302 model starting in 2012, and that reflected the 69 series muscle car, and this one, a 2013, reflected the 70 Trans Am Championship winner. And as you can see, it is in the same color. And this one has pedigree. It's also a low mile car, but this is not just a badge package from Ford. This is a real high-end race car performer. And a lot of people who see this car do not know actually what they are looking at. There were very few of these made. I think there were 4,000 each for 2012, and there were 4,000 made for 2013. They were incredibly race equipment inspired. And let's take a look at the paperwork, and then we'll kind of take a deeper dive into this one as well. So, okay, let's turn the paperwork around. The front cover, these are just copies, by the way. The front cover is in the same color of the Boss 302 with its racing heritage. Let's get into the facts. That this particular VIN number, 2013 Boss 302, and then here is a piece of some information that I made. 4,000 total production per year. 856 were School Bus Yellow, which is actually Grabber Orange. Larry Shinoda, and okay, now what we're going to take a look at is what the factory put on this car, because this is what is put on from, this is not a badge package, this is a purpose-built track car from Ford for 2013. Ford's high-performance V8 engine, 444 horsepower. Big, tall intake on it. CNC manufactured, high-flow ported aluminum heads. .373 gear, limited slip, and this car has the optional Torsen rear end, which, as you can see right there. What is the optional Torsen rear end? If you want to go racing with this car, okay, if you want to go racing, basically Trans Am racing, you have hills up and down and also turning left and right. So if you're coming up over a hill and have a sharp left turn over a hill, you can lose a lot of traction and go out of control. But the rear end has basically a helical rear end, is what they call it. And what it does is it will sense if you're slipping traction to one of the rear tires, it'll throw all the torque over to the other so you don't lose time on the racetrack. Okay, last thing is what I call red key racing. You have a track key. Okay, you have a silver one for regular driving, and you have a red one for racing. So let's give it a start. Listen to it. Okay. Oh, I gotta press the clutch down. Sorry. Both cars racing inspired. Incredible equipment in each one. And then also one of the other options is the Recaro seats. And if you ever seen these things through here, this is where your racing seat belts come over. Instead of on the side like a passenger car, you can put racing seat belts in here so when you go on the track. Yep. Okay. And this car, by the way, has 963 miles on it, original. It has almost an 8,000 red line. Don't worry, it was already warmed up before I revved it. Okay. Ah, there we go. Okay, there you're looking at the Boss 302 engine. It's a modern Coyote, which the engineers termed it as the Roadrunner engine. And the Roadrunner engine was specifically for the Boss 302, which hand-built, machined CNC heads, and the high-rise made a lot of power. And remember, this is a road racing car. This is not a boulevard bruiser grunt car, stoplight to stoplight. This thing is made for high-end revving. Again, almost 8,000 red line, and it's got all kinds of equipment on it. It's got the adjustable four-wheel suspension, steel-backed racing clutch, 373 helical Torsen rear end, and with the removable, where these would normally be the headlights, they are removed, and I took out the blanks. The blanks are in the center console, and that lets more air in for. So if you want to race this thing, and remember, when you take it to the track, at the end of the day, you have to change all fluids. That's part of what is keeping the warranty. You have to change brakes, transmission, oil, everything. And even with all the coolers on it, that's part of the deal to keep your warranty going, is if you took it to the track back then, you had to change all fluids every day after a full day of racing. So that's your new 2013. This car comes with all the options. And it's got the helical torsion rear end. And the only other option above this was the Laguna Seca. The Laguna Seca would have a different kind of design on it as far as striping, and it would have no back seat with a back brace for stiffness and a little bit thicker sway bars. Not a lot of difference, but it was even just more race inspired. And as you remember seeing from the equipment list, this thing is not a badge package, it's an actual track car released from Ford. That was an excellent attempt in 2012 and 2013 at the original Boss 302 specs. So let's go over here back to the 70. This is a 16 option car from, again, Los Angeles. Let's give it a quick start. You have to give it a little gas. Hey, it's only 60 years old. You have to give me some gas. It's got the original Hurst shifter. Clock. This thing is optioned to the hilt. And a gentleman who knows Fords very well told me that this car was a showroom car, and that's why it was so optioned up, because this car would be sitting in the showroom out in California, and it would show people the kind of options that were available to them on a car like this. Even though it was a homologation car, just a simple stripped down high power stroker 302 engine. But you can see it has power brakes, 4-speed, all of them are 4-speed. And take a look at this. It has the upgrade seat belts and the park, and also the buzzer still works. When you leave the car on and the keys in the ignition, it'll give you a buzz, and it all still works. So let's take a look underneath. This particular car was completely restored and rotisseried. Let's have a look.